Welcome back, my friend and colleague, Dr. Nefertiti Poyner with the Dev Center for Resilient Children. I hope you have enjoyed this limited series. This is our final video in the series, and we are so excited to have been able to just spend some time quietly with the word developmentally appropriate. So if you're listening to me today as a parent, it's important for you to understand developmentally appropriate practices so that you can make sure you're leaning into your child's strengths, you're providing play-based experiences wherever you can, and you're not forgetting about the joy that can come as we just know how to nurture our children at their different ages and stages. And if you're listening to me today as a professional, you do a lot. You do a lot every day, and we don't want developmentally appropriate practices to go unnoticed. It certainly is a part of everything that you do already, but I always think we can get better at getting better. That's what I like to say. So I'd like to leave you today with just a few ideas to think about how to promote developmentally appropriate practices in the different areas. So when we think about cognitive development, what's the best way to promote development there? Well, my suggestion today is to ask questions. Even if you're nurturing a little one, you're hungry? What's that sound you hear? What color is this? Now, you're not expecting an answer, but just beginning to ask those questions is beginning to help develop cognitive development. Now, as they get older, you do want to present questions that they can ask, that they can answer. And sometimes you might have to go grab a book to find out the answer. How wonderful could that be? So that's an idea about how we can promote cognitive development. Now, the good news about what I just said about cognitive development is that it also promotes language and speech development. Do you know that children develop their language by hearing your language? And so if your child is growing up in a home where two languages are being spoken, how wonderful is that? Yes, we can raise bilingual and trilingual children, and that can be amazing. And we can raise children that have wonderful vocabularies because the adults in their lives use rich language to communicate with them. And you can try the strategy I just offered. Ask a lot of questions and be ready to listen and respond as your little one gives you responses to the questions that you ask. And then those fine motor and gross motor developments, again, if you lean into what are the strengths of this child, how often can we do things with play, and then don't forget about the joy. So you know what you can do with gross motor and fine motor? Get yourself a ball. Just get yourself a regular old ball. And when I'm a little one and I'm trying to grab that ball, that's helping me with my fine motor skills. And as I'm running trying to get it, it's helping me with my gross motor skills. Go get a ball. And that's the way you can lean into developmentally appropriate practices with play, with strengths, and with joy. And then my favorite two areas of development are social and emotional. And for this one, I'm going to ask that you make sure you're a good model. You know, that's how you can promote social and emotional development. Make sure you are a good model. When you're having your difficult days or having to deal with a difficult person, is your child watching you? I bet they are. And how did we just demonstrate for them what to do when someone has made you frustrated? What did you do to model today about how to get along with another person? In order to meet developmentally appropriate practices with social and emotional development, today I'm going to ask you to be a good model. And when it comes to emotional development, do you know that children don't always think we're human? Teachers, talking to you for a second, or those of you that work in programs, have your children, your classroom students, ever seen you outside the school and they look at you like, how'd he get here? He can't shop at Target. All teachers' needs are met in the supply closet. How'd you get here? But that's a good example and a good opportunity to let them know that you do hurt. You do have feelings. And how do you handle your emotions? So once again, I ask you to go back to conversations and books and stories. And as you may see from my examples, a lot of the development all works together. In actuality, it always does. It always does. There are opportunities to have it all work together. So again, I hope my quick ideas are something you can keep on working at, or maybe you're going to try to do a little bit better at that tomorrow. But this is our last conversation as we talk about the word developmentally appropriate, or it's actually a term, developmentally appropriate practices. All right. I hope this has been a good use of your time. Dr. Nefertiti Poyner with the DAP Center for Resilient Children. Thanks for listening.